This video is the future of the West in paintings, and we're going to start out with Thomas Cole, The Voyage of Life. There's 4 parts to it, but I'm just going to show you youth. So the young man sort of says goodbye to his mother, his guardian angel, and he's headed off towards his fantasy future in the sky, and he's heading down a straight path, and he knows he's going to make it. In real life, though, there's a curve in the river, a bend in the river, and then some rapids right there, but he doesn't know that yet. And it's the American dream, and everybody felt it. When I was a young guy, there was not a single doubt in my mind. I grew up in a happy family, and I just knew someday I'd have my own big happy family. I'd find a nice woman, we'd settle down, we'd be married for life. America's the greatest country in the world. When I was growing up, America did not apologize. Well, like all the other countries, they suck, okay? They stink. They're third world shitholes. You know, the Russian commie evil empire is a piece of shit. Those communists, they're starving to death. China and Russia are shitholes. They suck, okay? Thank God we're not like them, okay? All they make is, you know, rubber dog shit, you know, shipped in from Hong Kong. Screw that crap. We're America. We're the best. You know, we only want an American car, American everything. Anything from anywhere but America was crap. That's how we thought. And my parents wouldn't even let me learn Spanish. They're like, no, 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 no. You speak English. That is the language of the world. Why would you want to learn Spanish? Even though my mother was from Puerto Rico, that was the thought at the time. Later on, she tried, but that was the attitude. And America was proud of itself back when I was a young kid. All right, so anyways, now here's another thing. The latest thing in America is pretending that men and women are the same. We are not the same. We're not even kind of the same. Women have boobies. They breastfeed babies. Women have a uterus. They give birth to babies. They're hormonally connected to that kid more than the fathers. We love our kids, okay, but we're not like a woman. A woman is a better parent for children until they hit puberty. After they hit puberty, then the father becomes a better parent because fathers are more in touch with objective reality. Mothers have this obsessive, fanatical, unconditional love for their kids, which is good. The kids need that at times, but they need the objective reality of a father. Look at the children when they grow up with only a mother, not a father around. They end up impulsive, loudmouthed, disrespectful, high tendencies to bad behavior and violent behavior, okay? Fathers are better parents when kids are in puberty. That's just an objective fact. And women are being forced into trying to be like men. And then if you don't say, oh, women can do what men can do, oh, bullshit. They have no physical strength. They're like a 6th grade boy in terms of their physical strength, okay? And then also they have their period and then they're tired and they're moody, okay? The guy can work all day, 7 days a week in the field. He doesn't care about anything, okay? He doesn't have mood swings. His emotions aren't like a roller coaster, okay? So the man has a lot of advantages in anything with physical labor. And women, you know, they do well in school. 60% of them, college students are women. But what I'm trying to say is I saw the truth. When I was growing up, all of my friends had moms that stayed home except for one, a divorced lady. She worked. And the women were pretty happy. The families were happy. My mother was like one of the happiest people I ever met in my life. Once she had her first kid, she stayed home. Nowadays, all these women are working and they're pissed off because they come home at the end of the day. Husbands don't give a shit about the house. They have to clean the house, cook the food, take care of the kids. So now they got 2 jobs instead of 1 job. And most of them are angry and pissed off. 80% of the divorces are women filing for divorce. They have all these broken families, messed up children. If all this so-called science is for real, how come kids are stupider than ever? How come people are fatter than ever? How come people are sicker than ever? How come people are more unhappy than ever? America's going down into the garbage can. The more it turns away from Christianity, the worse it gets. Scientific materialism doesn't work. It makes people unhappy. Pretending men and women are the same doesn't make people happy, okay? And just because a woman can, you know, get good grades in college and grad school, and they can do very well in college and grad school, it doesn't mean they should try to live their life like a man. In the long run, they're not going to be happy. Women are happy when they have families and babies. Nowadays, they only have 1 or 2 kids, and they're all talking to their dogs like they're people, okay? And you have all these women, they delay, you know, getting a man in their life till they're in their mid-30s, and they can't attract the man, and they end up unhappy cat ladies with no kids. Okay, here's the Roseto effect. Italian families in Pennsylvania, 1960s, 1950s, for example, the whole extended family live in the same house. Grandma, grandpa, the parents, the kids, the grandkids. And the relevance is Luigi gets a job downtown. If Luigi gets fired from his job, he's okay. They'll feed him for 3 months, whatever it takes for him to get a new job. He gets a new job, he's okay. If Luigi's by himself living in the city, and he loses his job, he's screwed. He can't pay his rent, and he can't buy any food. So what I'm trying to say is the social support system of the old extended families, before there were all these divorces, before everybody moved far away from their original families, led to people being healthier. The Roseto Italians had much, much lower rates of coronary artery disease and myocardial infarction and premature death in comparison with demographic matched populations that did not have this type of social support system. It makes a big benefit to the individual. Here's a paper about the Roseto effect. Oh, another thing I'm going to warn you about is watch out for the destroyers. There's always scumbag lefties that come along and try to rewrite all the papers and say, oh no, the Roseto effect didn't really make a difference. Oh, BS. It makes a big difference. Number one, not only do you have the stability that you can get food and shelter, in addition, you lower the psychological stress. Stress increases high blood pressure, diabetes, coronary artery disease, myocardial infarction, and all these problems. Stress is a real thing. So abnormal increased amounts of stress are harmful to your health, okay? And that's well known. It's not some mystery. And caffeine does the same thing. It's not good for you. Here's just one more painting. This one's called Filial Piety by a French artist, Jean-Baptiste Greuze. And it simply just shows this old guy, if it hadn't been for the family taking care of him, he'd be dead, okay? The family helps each other. Aristotle had said the family is like God's invention to satisfy the wants and needs of individuals, okay? And it used to be there was a lot of respect for the traditional family, and the kids and everything. And nowadays, the lefties are all saying, oh, the best kid is an aborted kid. Yeah, right. It's so evil, it's not even funny. Okay, even in the schools, they encourage kids through the MAID program to bump off kids, okay? You think I'm kidding? Look up MAID, Medical Assistance in Dying Program. You'll be amazed at what they're trying to do with that. And in the schools nowadays, they're castrating children. They've taken the Bible out of school, but it's okay to have drag queen story hour. It's insane. This is insane. This is leading to the destruction of children and the destruction of society. Now we're going to talk about the cycle of civilization. There's a lot of people who put forth the idea of a cycle of civilization. At the simplest level, it's the life cycle of an individual. They start out as a baby, they become a mature, functional adult, and then they get older and sicker and debilitated and they die. Okay, that's sort of a little bit of a peak and decline version of what happens to a society as well. And then there's more cyclical versions of it. There's like the Giambattista Vico cycle of civilization. He's a guy from the 1700s, an Italian who was kind of ostracized, but he was a smart guy. And the gist of it was they start out kind of bestial, savage, barbarian, okay, but they're rough and they're tough and they work hard and they learn how to hunt and they learn how to eventually do some agriculture and to start a civilization, okay? And they're sort of the age of gods, then the age of heroes, and then the age of men. And then the next step from their barbarism, nomadic wandering, hunter-gatherer lifestyle is to have little farms and fishing villages and stay in a fixed location. Kids got more time now for education, to read and start becoming educated. But it's important with their education they maintain a respect for God, because if they disrespect their gods, they then will destroy what held the civilization together. Religion means relegare in Latin, legare, to ligate, to tie together, to hold the population together. Once they mess with that, society will fall apart. So here is Consummation of Empire, again by Thomas Cole. This is from a series of paintings about empire, and they're beautiful paintings. There's about 5 of them. And this is when civilization is at its peak. Once you have capitalism and Christianity and the Constitution with freedom and laissez-faire capitalism, you get tremendous wealth. People are very wealthy. There's time for parties. There's low crime. You can have a beautiful, magnificent society. You can have an aristocratic, educated class that produces literature and painting and all these other wonderful things of civilization, okay? And this is as good as it gets. It doesn't get any better than this. This is how USA used to be, okay? So what comes next? Atheist destroyers, okay? Well, first of all, let me just show you. Here's a Renaissance Italy sculpture. This is around 1500, Michelangelo, when he's a young guy, only 23 years of age. The Pietà, okay, Christ on the lap of Mary. It's the most beautiful sculpture ever made. It's spectacular, okay? And that's what they were making in Renaissance Italy in 1500. Now look at this crap. Look at this scumbag Duchamp in the Modern Art Museum. He puts a urinal, like he thinks that's clever. And people tolerate that. This should not be allowed in an art museum. This is an insult to society. A society that allows a urinal to be placed in their art museum is degraded. Why should they have better art in the 1500s? Based on God and Christianity, they produced the greatest art ever in the history of the world. Based on atheistic modernism, you end up with a urinal in your art museum. This is unacceptable. And the fact that people allow this just shows how degraded and stupid and pathetic and disgusting they are. And if a Renaissance man came to Western societies now and saw this crap in a museum, he'd say these people are the scum of the earth. They are swine. They deserve to be destroyed. That's what he would say. And then look what else you have. This is in Rotterdam Museum. What they have in their art museum is statues of turds. This is unacceptable. Why do people accept this? Because they're low-life, stupid morons, scumbags. And again, if a man from Renaissance Italy came and saw this, he would say this population is so stupid and so evil and so atheistic and so wicked, they're contemptible. They're beneath animals. This is vile. I mean, don't you get it? I mean, how could this be allowed in an art museum? Okay, what does this say about a civilization? It has no respect for itself. That's what you get with atheism. Okay, now here's a building produced by Christianity. Christianity is the greatest thing that ever happened to mankind. I say that based on extensive, decades-long, detailed study of it. It produces everything. It produces all the good art, all the good literature. Not all of it, but almost all of it. The best music, the best literature, the best architecture, the best painting, the best sculpture, the best hospitals, the best universities. Here's just one cathedral, Notre Dame. It's beautiful. It's spectacular. It's awesome. Okay? And now here's what modernism gets you. Or have we really made actually, I'll show you one more painting. This is Sainte-Chapelle. Look at these stained glass windows. I mean, it's just awesome. And then you just say, I mean, is that not inspired by God? Because there's nothing as beautiful as that. You know, how could mankind, stupid mankind, make these magnificent things and make them even almost 1,000 years ago? Okay, like in the 1200s, the 1300s, the 1400s. Look how spectacular all this stuff is. Okay, now what do we get with modernism? Here's modernism for you. Thomas Wolfe said, all the modern office buildings, you have a square block of a skyscraper, and all the little rooms look like animal cages, for rats, for rodents, and then out in front you have a statue of a turd. So animal cages with a statue of a turd in front. That's modern architecture. You think that's progress? This is scum. This is crap. This is to allow a statue of a turd to be placed in front of your building. That's degradation of a society. And the society is so degraded, so stupid, so ignorant that it allows this. This is a terrible insult. A statue of a turd in front of your building? Is that what your society represents, a turd? And nobody says anything. Nobody does anything about it. And then here's this other thing, all this multiculturalism nonsense that you can just open up your border. There is no country ever in the history of the world that can open up its border to random strangers and survive. And one of the things you'll notice is endless numbers of young adult men. This is an invasion. This is not immigration or migration. Immigration or migration is families where there's a job for people, where there's something for the people to do, where they're sponsored by local citizens. This is random invasion by young adult men of military age that are invading and destroying all of the European countries and and the USA as well. Nobody's saying that Africa needs diversity. How come these people aren't being sent to Africa? Nobody is saying that China or India needs diversity. How come they're not being sent there? Nobody's saying that South America needs diversity. How come all these people, from Mexico or Africa, why don't we send them to South America? No, they're only being force-fed into the Western countries, military-age men, in effort to destroy the places. And then the laws are made, for example, they get interest-free home loans. They're given preferential treatment against the native citizens of the West, the Christians, because they want to destroy Christianity. And this is all coming from the fact that the billionaires who run the world is not so much run by governments. The governments are controlled by the billionaires. And the billionaires, what they want is to get rid of Christianity, because once Christianity's gone, they think everybody else is weak and stupid and easy to control. Once they get rid of the Christians, then they believe that they can institute a dictatorship of the entire planet, and they can be gods on earth and have whatever they want. They already can do whatever they want. With all their money, they can do whatever they want, snap their fingers, and they can have a different woman in their bed every night, okay? But they still want more. And as far as they're concerned, all these people are just polluting the world, so it'd be better to reduce the population. But those pesky Christians keep talking about equal in the eyes of God of all mankind, and that makes it hard to just randomly, rapidly decrease the population. So get rid of the Christians first, and then we can get rid of everybody else. It's sort of like the plan. Okay, so anyways, here is the next step in the Thomas Cole paintings of empire. This painting is called Desolation. And basically you have riots in the streets, destruction of property, destruction of the buildings. The women get RAP, and then you know the rest of the word. And that's what happens too. Just turn on your YouTube and watch the videos. The guys go to these other countries, you know. Everybody knows there's lots of smart Indian doctors in the USA, but India, the country, is a third world country. Women walk down the streets, they're getting groped and grabbed. It's worse than Muslim countries. They beat them up and they drag them in the corner and RAP. You know what? Then next. I'm not just saying it. You go watch videos about what's happening in England, what's happening in other European countries. These are routine events. And all these people, you know, always saying, oh, the white Christian men, they're racist, they're misogynist, they're sexist. Oh, yeah, right. Why does everybody want to come to the countries that were created by the Christians? Everybody wants to come to them. Everybody wants to live in them because they create peaceful, high-functioning, wealthy societies. Nobody wants to go to third world countries. I've never in my life heard anybody say they want to move to one of those places, okay? And what happens to the woman when they go there? What happens to a homosexual in a Muslim country? They execute them, okay? Execute them. Nobody talks about Muslims being homophobic, but oh, God forbid, if a Christian says anything that he doesn't think anal sex is the greatest thing in the world, he's homophobic, oh my God, all right? And if he doesn't, you know, kiss a woman's ass, he's misogynist. She goes into one of these places, they'll punch her in the face, hey, you whore, how come you're not wearing your veil? Drag her in a corner and RAP, you know what comes next, okay? And so this is the standard, the double standard that the West has held to, and it's being destroyed, and it's sad, okay? So here the church is being burned down. In Soviet communist Russia, they burnt down like 48,000 churches, killed 65 million Christians. This is what is coming to the West. It's already happening. The forests are being burned down. And here's the painting, the last phase of the Course of Empire by Thomas Cole, Desolation. You're left with nothing but destroyed with ruins. Theodore Dalrymple, the writer, said of England, London, he said, the current English people are basically ignorant barbarians walking amidst the ruins of a civilization that was far greater than theirs. Yeah, young people go to the public schools, they're trained to be atheists and totally ignorant of their culture. Here's a painting by the French painter Auguste Schenck, and it's called Anguish, and this is kind of the West. It's dying. It's not having any kids. The ones that have are all sick and messed up. And illegal alien military-age men are coming across the border ready to beat the crap out of them, rob them, and kill them. Okay? That's the future of the West. And then here's their only chance. Rally to the cross, unify society, make it a melting pot again, close their borders, stand up for righteousness, Christian ethics, but they won't do it. They think, oh no, atheism is real science. Darwinism is fake, it's BS. It explains microevolution, it does not explain macroevolution, the variety of body types, phyla and all that. It does not explain origin of life, none of that. If science is getting better, why is everybody fatter and sicker and more unhappy and dying sooner? Okay, society is going down the tubes. Why are all the kids stupider than ever if all these computer devices are supposed to be an improvement in helping the brain? Things are going backwards, not forwards. Why is there more poverty? Why is everything going in the crap hole? Because the billionaires hate the population, the pros, and all this atheistic stuff is taken over by corporations and used against the public. And the public is too stupid to rally to the Christ. None of them knows the Old Testament, almost none of them. You turn your back on God, God turns his back on you. And that's what they've done. And now they're paying the price for it. And as each year goes by, it looks less possible to save Europe. It looks less possible to save the USA. USA still got a very good chance to be saved and turn around. Europe, I'm not too confident. I'm not too confident about. I think England's done, okay, from what I've seen. And the other places are pretty far along as well. And you know what's coming. It's obvious what's coming. So here's the future of the West, and maybe the future of the USA. Lamb of God by Konstantine Korobov. And it doesn't look good. All right, and now here's what happened in France when they turned their back on God. 50,000 heads on the ground. And then here's what it all leads to. It's all going to lead to slavery. That's what happened in the Soviet Union. The population's enslaved. Communism is total centralization of power, and it's the modern version of slavery. And the public is enslaved. The farmers all became alcoholics because anything they would produce would be taken away from them. Okay, the priests are all sent into slave labor, and everything just goes into the crap hole. Anyways, let us hope that the West can turn itself around. I hope this is just a prophecy that doesn't come true, but it certainly looks like everything's going this way. I hope the West turns itself around.